Etsy isn't one of the first places a person goes when trying to connect with old friends or to keep up with the latest news. Instead, it's a community marketplace for handmade and unique gifts. I decided to study Etsy as my virtual community, and I was very surprised at how many applications it had to the themes of our class. So, just a little background to Etsy. Its tagline is Shop for handmade, vintage, custom, and unique gifts for everyone. It's a community of creative sellers on one platform, united together. There are no connections or relationships made between the seller and buyer when a purchase is made. And it's not a social media community by any means, but it has social media integrations, which we'll talk about in later slides. One of the first themes we talked about in this class was hashtag no email. Etsy sends buyers to emails that their item has been purchased, when it ships, and when it's time to leave a review. These emails usually go unread because they're emails, leaving sellers to answer many questions about shipping and reviews that could have otherwise been answered by the emails. So the next talk was Mary Meeker's talk, and Mary Meeker talks about how Etsy doesn't own any of the products listed, but instead own the platform where buyers search for products and where sellers list for their products, making the sellers freelancers. She actually mentions Etsy as a player in this change. I'm going to skip to 2355 to see where she discusses Etsy.
Thank you. Prices, especially work and other forms of work, easier to find, come flexibility, and have underutilized. General view is some of the specifics for some of the companies. At Uber, 87% use Uber to set their own hours, 85% do for work-life balance, and 74% use drive on Uber to maintain steady income. On Etsy, 99.9% of U.S. counties have Etsy sellers. 97% operate at home, 28% operate from a rural location, 27% have children at home, and 68% say their motivation is the creativity that related to Etsy selling, creating and selling, provides happiness. Airbnb.
So the next talk we listened to was Kevin Kelly, and he talks about filtering. And Etsy is following in others' footsteps where sellers can pay to upgrade their shop to plus status. So right here, plus status, where they pay $10 extra a month to stay one of the first search result pages. So the SEO keeps them at the top because they paid the $10 a month. So it's pretty much like pay to play, as Kevin Kelly talked about. So this Jeff Bezos and Amazon, Etsy, biggest competitor is Handmade by Amazon. So this was a very clear contrast, comparison, I guess, to the themes of the class, because Etsy's greatest competition is Handmade at Amazon, and they have the same type design of website and search engine capabilities and everything. So it's a very good competitor, and Etsy probably should be worried about it, as we will talk about in the very last slide. So the theme of the Great AI Awakening, Etsy in the future could use people's emotions to sell their sellers' products. It would probably be another upgrade so that Etsy could make profit off of it to pay for it, but sellers would do it if it meant more profit in the long run. So just in this one little graphic, we see that 31% of advertisers report significant product gains with emotional campaigns. So that's a significant gain, just because altering their campaigns a little bit to focus more on emotions than logic. AI is the new electricity. Etsy will soon be at the forefront of artificial intelligence if it is not taken over by Amazon Handmade. It is one of the few websites on the internet where people go with the sole intention of buying something. The amount of data that could be extracted about consumers and how they shop is insurmountable. Oh, So, how social media ruins your life or not? Lee Rain discusses how hyperconnectivity is an internet trend in 2018. However, Etsy's interface on the internet is going in the opposite direction. Etsy's taking the human interaction out of purchasing an item and making it completely automated. From choosing the product down to its shipment, there is little to no interaction between the buyer and seller because the computer does the work of verifying the card, making the shipping labels, etc. Locking the web open with Brewster Kahle. Etsy tracks consumers' buying habits and lists their recent purchases on their profile. There was at one time an uproar about this by concerned buyers. On Etsy, there are some items that buyers would want to remain private. An example of this is a newborn onesie with "Only the best moms get promoted to grandma," exclaiming that the buyer was pregnant. If a buyer's mom just happened to look at her Etsy profile, she would know that her daughter was pregnant before her daughter could tell her. This is far stretched, but the same principles can be applied to other situations. This is an example where privacy was invaded by Etsy and made the experience no longer fun for buyers, as Kahle discusses. Solid with Tim Berners-Lee. Around the 30-minute mark, Tim talks about how Google can extract data from websites, such as hotel room prices, to advertise and sell products to an interested consumer. Google can now track products and prices instead of just search terms such as Paris Hilton. In the future, if a person searches homemade natural bath soap, a buyer could essentially order from the Google search results page instead of having to visit the Etsy website. So now I'm going to skip to the 30-minute mark. Hopefully better than last time.
To appear. You want your search engine to know this product, to know where it's deliverable to and from, and what the price is, and so on. So there's incentive. So in fact, now the microdata say there's a huge explosion in that. So there is a huge amount of semantic web data, and you could tell the moment it became important because the search engine, which you remember, the search engine used to just have a list of things. You'd search for Paris Hilton, and it would give you a list of web pages, and you'd see some of them would be about Paris Hilton, the person, someone would be about a Hilton in Paris, and as a human being, you'd sort of pick one to follow. But then with Google, then it has this giant global graph of data, and they put an info box, and the info box is all semantic web stuff. Okay, they're saying, okay, we're talking about a thing which is a hotel that is of RDF type. It is a hotel. Look in schema.org. This is a hotel, and this is a person. This is a celebrity, and we have information about the celebrity and have information about the hotel, and we'll help you buy it. Okay, we'll help you. I'll reserve a room in the hotel if you want. So
With Mark Zuckerberg in the hot seat, sometimes my own personal searches on Etsy appear on the Facebook platform. Just as Russians were able to purchase the ability to sway an election, Etsy can purchase advertisements to target what their users search on Etsy on a more used platform, Facebook. Online harassment, risky research, and activism. Zara talks about how racism is a problem throughout all aspects of the internet. Etsy prides itself in being a place of diverse products, sellers, and buyers. Etsy does have a report button where searchers can report items that are offensive to a certain group. While self-reporting does not delete every offensive product off Etsy's marketplace, it does reduce the amount of offensive results shown. Privacy, algorithms, and art. Etsy uses algorithms and the filtering discussed above to control their SEO, search engine optimization, to dictate which users see which search results. If you came back to the same page a day later, some items wouldn't be on the front page anymore, but some would. Citizen 4. Etsy tracks your buying habits. They track how your habits compare to others surrounding you. Etsy could easily, if not already, sell this data to the government for profit so that advertisements on other platforms could be targeted towards the buyer. Here's an example of the purchases and reviews. Memes at work and play. Etsy provides a platform of memes that can be profited off of. Just a simple search of meme gifts results in thousands of t-shirts, mugs, and stickers that relay popular memes on the internet. Research and effective computing. Etsy could easily aid in the research of effective computing. Studying potential buyers' emotions while navigating the site could aid Etsy sellers in designing their shops. If Etsy is hard to navigate, buyers would not visit as often, reducing the likelihood of purchasing as many products as if Etsy were easy to use and easy on the eyes. Applications of effective computing. One application of effective computing in sales is creating a computer that recognizes, interprets, and processes human emotions. It would understand how potential buyers react to an advertisement or product. Etsy could soon implement this in order to sell more products, increasing their own profit. An example of this is Procter & Gamble producing the Thank You Mom commercials. So this is an example of how Procter & Gamble knows their market, which is mothers and caregivers using household items, or household products, so that they could sell more of those products. So I didn't want to show you the whole thing just because it's so long, but you probably remember this because it was so emotional, and that's pretty much the point of these targeted and emotional advertisements. So, Tor and privacy. Etsy claims to have top-notch privacy securities in place, but these focus more on secure money transfer instead of secure searching. While certainly no highly classified secrets should be searched for on Etsy, digital privacy is important across all the web to set a standard for expectation of privacy instead of a surprise when there's actually search securities in place. Online dating. Etsy has a feature where you can match with other buyers who are interested in the same items you are. This uses very similar software to dating applications in order to match people via their interests and personalities. So some popular features of Etsy that I believe could be possible. The most likely is that Etsy fades into oblivion because of Amazon Handmade. Amazon is just such a huge company and they're so successful that I don't see how Etsy can compete if Amazon really steps up their game and really tries to compete and take over Etsy. Either the second most likely is that Etsy is purchased and merged with Amazon Handmade. It might be cheaper for Amazon Handmade to just buy Etsy instead of trying to compete with them at first. And then the least likely is that Etsy uses AI to continue to be the most popular handmade site. Some AI software is just so expensive. While it does pay off in the end, it would just be so expensive for Etsy to purchase right now. So this is Etsy, and please, if you have any questions, just ask. But other than that, thanks for watching.